worry about it. You don't always have to have a perfect vision in your mind of what it is you're going to paint. Imagination is, it's like any other muscle in your body, or like a muscle in your body. The more you practice, the better it becomes.
Hello everybody, what is up and welcome back, and today we're going to be playing some EverQuest. This is one of the champions of MMORPGs, where it all began, and I've got to say it has been an interesting experience thus far. Really puts you in the mud, just puts you in the crap, honestly. This game, it just tells you and shows you about how these games used to be, and it shows you how unforgiving these games used to be, more importantly. I just spent about 2 hours earlier today trying to get from one zone to another, the starter zone, to about, I want to say about 4 or 5 maps away. It was absolutely insane. I was getting ganked by mobs on the road, and I had to spawn all the way back at the starter town. And when you die past a certain point, I think it's like around level 6 actually, you lose experience. So I was losing a lot of experience around there, and I also de-leveled all the way down to 18 from 19 where I started. Now, I did find a grind group because there's no LFG really in terms of like teleporting to a dungeon and whatnot, so you have to actually travel to places, even if you do find a group through the global chat. So I had to come over here and actually grind with this group to get my way back up to level 20. Well, even though I was at level 19, but I ran past that to 20. But it's been really good so far. It's taught me a lot about what people really liked about these kinds of games. I can see why a lot of people want more of these, where they don't want it to have LFG where you can teleport to that dungeon automatically. They don't want it to where, you know, maybe even in some cases you don't have maps or, you know, things that handhold you all the way through. And in terms of like the quest dialogue, having to type out what the NPC might want you to say to get the next part of the scenario to pop up, that was pretty interesting as well. I did like that aspect, even though in this version you are able to click the blue link as well, but that wasn't introduced until after Classic. But we are playing on the 20th anniversary servers that were fresh, and I wanted to make sure that I got this experience because I haven't ever played EverQuest before. I wanted to cross this one off my list, but I also need to take out Star Wars Galaxies and Ultima Online as well. But without further adu, folks, let's go ahead and get into the grind. And we're back. Well, technically we didn't move at all. We're grinding here, so we're basically going to be staying in the exact same place. Anyway. Hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good night, whatever you've got going on in your day or night. Hope it's going well for you. I've been liking some of the classes that they have. They have a lot of class variety in this game. They have everything from the Shadow Knights to the Berserkers in terms of the tanks. They've got the Paladins as well, which I don't think I've seen a Paladin yet. There's different racial areas as well, all separated by large zones that you have to travel through. And in the classic version of this game, they didn't have anything that could really assist you with that. No maps. All you had was a compass, I'd imagine. There was no way to, you know, find the location, find the NPCs, things like that. All you had was your wits. You gotta look at landmarks. That's about it. And back when the game first came out, they didn't know anything about the game or what zones might be best to grind in. There wasn't an easy way to find that out. They basically had to explore and figure that out for themselves and just try what worked. And it probably took a lot of trial and error, I'd imagine. They must have spent months and months on end. And I'm kind of starting to see why people want this kind of thing in Pantheon as well, Rise of the Fallen. And this is a good case of a game where you definitely want to take what works from the past, what people enjoyed, and apply it to the future to innovate. Now, there's been a lot of different parts of enjoyment on both sides. This side would be where the game is so hardcore that it just puts you in the muck and you just have to figure things out for yourself. You know, you beat your head against the wall day in, day out, trying to figure out the game and its mechanics. But it's that experience that adds onto it overall and makes it more enjoyable, makes it more impactful, and makes you want to contribute more to the game. For instance, when I did go on that 2-3 hour journey and died about 5-6 times, I wouldn't have been able to, you know, get to the end zone unless I kept trying. But when I did feel more fulfilled. I did have a guide as well that really helped me out with that. That was awesome. Holy crap. Because they actually put up guards in this version. So there was originally no guards in certain places on our journey, but along the way, apparently there was some put in place to prevent people from getting there easily. And the race that I'm playing, it just so happens that everybody's hostile towards me. So if I step into the wrong city, which is most of them, I'm going to get my butt kicked. So that was interesting, having to lure the guards away and having to try and sneak past them to get where I was trying to go. That was all part of the experience as well. And I can see why gamers would really like that as well. Even in the other old school games, you'd see like Dark Age of Camelot, Shadowbane, World of Warcraft Classic. I could imagine why people really want it to be like this, because if you just have everything handed to you, you might get more boring faster. If it's easier to figure out, time and time again, it's definitely been proven that once you figure everything out, you've done everything, of course, you'll start to get burnt out unless, you know, you're genuinely enjoying the game. So I think it's a really good thing that people want that kind of thing. And that's some, maybe not all, because days have changed where there's a lot of people that really like the old ways. I like the old ways as well. In terms of like sandboxes, for instance, too, like Wurm Online, Mortal Online, games like that, Darkfall, for instance. I love those kinds of ways where there really was a lot of freedom, and the punishment aspect wasn't really there because you could, in terms of like Darkfall, for instance, there was outlaw towns you could go into if you know, took out too many people, or in Mortal's case, same thing. There was places for that you could still thrive and survive, and you weren't punished as hard for that kind of thing unless someone took you out. But there's also now a lot of people that are used to the other side of things, because it's been so long with us getting different kinds of MMORPGs and MMOs, to where you'd kind of need a balance. So it's really good that games like Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen are coming out in this regard, because games like that will continue to offer that hardcore experience, which we should never really let go, because if you're able to introduce that to people and give it to people for enjoyment that miss that experience, then you got the best of both worlds right there. So I think that they're definitely doing really good here. Hopefully, because we need more on the theme park side, hopefully that starts happening too, and just hopefully these MMOs start coming out in general, because it would be nice to get this kind of experience again for sure. Oh, come on, you Sarnak bastards. Let's come on. I gotta take these guys out. Now I'm playing as a Beast Lord, which means I do have a companion. I wanted to make sure that I could use a class that could still solo if need be, because the server that I was on, not a lot of guildies were interested in trying the game out, but I had to, of course, because I wanted to make sure I got that full experience, especially before a game like Pantheon came out, and I now feel like I'm ready to back it officially. If this is the kind of experience that it wants to provide, then yeah, I think, and in a modern age with, you know, upgraded graphics as well, that's the main part I'm hoping about as well. Can't wait to see that part. But then yeah, I could see myself backing and enjoying that very much, actually. I like that aspect, even though it's not, you know, mainly PvP, or there's really no PvP aspects whatsoever. That part, like having that balance once again, because we've had a lot of MMORPGs that have been based off of PvP, especially the past few years, and a lot of them haven't had the best track record, because whether it's been from RNG or games just having poor design decisions, I'm not going to point any fingers, but it's just not worked out that well. So I think having a balance of that going forward, ones that you can have that kind of experience where you can PvP to your heart's content, maybe even in some cases like Amazon's New World, for instance, be able to go without certain penalties, I think that'd be a lot better. Don't know where the hell you think you're going, buddy. But anyway, I do admire developers that are trying to, you know, build that sort of thing again, because again, it's going to cater to a niche audience. It definitely will. It won't cater to the masses. And not a lot of people are going to want to go through this hardcore experience. It's definitely not for everyone. For some people, it can definitely feel like punishment. It can feel, you know, very too extreme. A lot of people might feel that there's just not enough time in a day. I get that. People have to work, and, you know, people have responsibilities that they have to take care of. It makes sense. That's why balance is important, because for those people who may be really fond of the old days, maybe they're, you know, in their retirement days, or, you know, maybe they are on vacation, things like that, that just want to spend all day playing a game and contributing to it and having that time be put into reward, I could understand them wanting a game like this to spend that time on. It would make perfect sense, absolutely. So I think, yeah, definitely having oh, hi, how you doing, buddy? Okay. A balance would be good. I will tell you one thing too, it's definitely not as hardcore in terms of the the resting capabilities rather, than I would say like Lineage 2, for instance. I mean, that was crazy. I had to sit down like every 5 or 6 kills, and that was before, of course, like level 27, when people got their mana regeneration abilities that they could cast on people. But early game, oh my god, everything cost mana. The melee attacks, the spells, the skills, everything cost mana. So having to sit down a lot like that, it definitely made it more for the social aspect, that's for sure. Definitely had to be more of a social thing, or in some cases more of an AFK thing that I experienced a lot actually when Lineage 2 Classic came around. But definitely turns into that. And I think that a lot of times in these old school MMORPGs, the social aspect definitely played a bigger part. It definitely seemed to impact a lot of what made these games good as well. You know, when you're just watching movies, or you're just chilling out with people in voice chat and playing games like this, and, you know, attacking stuff and making sure you stay focused on the task at hand, that can definitely pass time, and that can definitely be really enjoyable. And even when you're going up against big raid bosses that I've heard that are in this game and things like that, it is mainly PvE all the way through from what it seems. I haven't seen anything that indicates that there is PvP in the game, but I have seen stuff that indicates that if you die, it's going to be punishing as hell, that's for sure. You definitely don't want to do that. And there will be a lot of challenge in terms of PvE later on down the line. There's a lot of different areas in this game to explore, a lot of different areas to grind in. There's so much to see, so much to do in terms of the PvE aspect. There's challenges, of course, the dungeons, the raids, all kinds of things that people haven't seen. People might not ever even see. I've heard of places where even if you played for a year straight, year or two, probably still haven't seen certain areas, kind of thing, because you're just so used to going into one area, or you don't know that you can get into another area, that kind of thing. So it definitely makes for a long-lasting experience. Project 1999 of EverQuest still has a decent amount of player base to it, and when these anniversary servers came up originally yesterday, they actually were pretty full for most of the day too. And the original classic server experience that they opened up, that one was pretty much, you couldn't get into that one easily at all. You had to be spamming that start button on the server selection screen. And this guy just killed my pet, and I was not paying attention. I'm so sorry. You mother lover. See, I actually have an ability that allows me to heal my pet, but because I wasn't paying attention, I'm gonna have to expend some more mana now. But you know what? Guess what? I didn't have to sit down for 20 minutes to do it, thankfully. Just kidding. But no, that was actually pretty interesting though. I did like the Lineage 2 Classic experience. I could see why people really like that experience as well. I would like to try other ones too, like Lord of the Rings Legendary Server, Ultima Online. Of course, they've got a new shard, Wasteland or Outlands, I think it's called, and Star Wars Galaxies. I believe they have an emulator. I want to cross all of those off my list because Lord of the Rings Online I did play back. But this will be interesting to find out where all this stuff goes and how it gets incorporated into new MMORPGs. Definitely changes a lot of perspective for me as well, because I've definitely played old school games, and the first one I ever played was Runescape, and that was quite heavily as well. The majority of the ones that I played were pretty old school sandboxes, and some were similar to this. Of course, like Dark Age of Camelot I did play, Shadowbane I played a bit of it, and in terms of games like Wurm Online, Mortal Online, Darkfall, Life is Feudal isn't really gonna count there, but games like those that a lot of them I can't even remember the name now. I did play, of course, RuneScape, of course, and then a lot of different MMORPGs spread across game portal sites like Area Games, IJJI, OG Planet, G Potato, and all those game portal sites were golden. It was like the golden age. It was amazing. But hopefully we'll be getting out of this drought soon when it comes to this genre, because this one is really the only one that's stuck in a drought right now. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, folks, that is going to be all for EverQuest. I believe you saw pretty much 60% of the game and what it's about already just with this small showcase. So a lot of times what'll happen is when you go to these places, people will move from place to place, zone to zone. You'll be fighting mobs like this, and you'll be gaining the ability to buy skills. You'll be gaining the ability to, of course, buy new gear, things like that. You'll earn a lot of money. You'll earn a lot of experiences with this. And the most important part about it is to be social. Have conversations with people, chillax. That's what all of this experience is really about. Enjoying how these MMORPGs used to be. If you're interested in trying it out, definitely feel free to sign up on their site. It does have to be a subscription-based game. It is a subscription-based game, so be sure to note that. There's something called Chronos that you can buy, or maybe get from other people as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that too. But without further ado, folks, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a wonderful night, And I'll see you next time. Later, folks. I'm going back to this.